It's been a little while since I made a video on Comma. This is the 2018 Chevrolet Bolt, and today is March 4th, 2026, and I have the latest version as of today, and I'm running a new driver profile, Dark Souls, and it's been really nice. I tried South Carolina last week, which was also very nice. So there was a couple recommended driver profiles you can switch through. And I was on like latex for a while, and I was kind of unaware about those driving profiles to kind of keep up on those. But so this is a pretty new version too of Star Pilot slash Frog Pilot, however you want to stack those together. But continuing to be so impressed with this community and the builds and the capabilities. Now, for anyone that maybe watched my previous video, I talked about having a Tesla Model 3 as well, which has FSD. It's 2019, so it's a hardware 3. But I was an early adopter of that, had full self-driving in 2021, so I had 2 years of autopilot before I got full self-driving. So I went through version 10 and 11, and all the pain that entailed, and then finally got version 12, which has been on for a year, but it's been a huge improvement. Now I'm going to probably have to just nudge the wheel to the right because it's going to go straight. So that's something that this can't do compared to Tesla. I can put the navigation in Tesla, tell it where to go, and it'll go there. But here I've kind of got to guide it to where I want it to go. So in that case, it was going to go straight, so we took the fork, which we wanted. But the point of talking about the Tesla is I feel like I have some experience in the space of this autonomous driving. And I would say that Comma today on my 2019 Bolt, the open source software, is equal to Tesla Autopilot circa 2020, let's call it. Now I'm on my way for an 80-mile round-trip drive, and it's going to be some highway for about 25 miles. And it's going to be 2-lane kind of back roads, country roads for the rest of the trip. And Comma really kind of excels at this. It alleviates so much of the stress. I'm monitoring the situation, of course, and I can do lane changes. With this current build, it seems like it's gotten much better at keeping better spacing and accelerating appropriately. And I was noticing this current build was pretty good at stopping at red lights and continuing on without a lead car. One of the big changes I made from my first video I made about Star Pilot slash Frog Pilot is lane changes on the highway. Once we get past this truck, and there's no traffic around us, we'll do a couple of lane changes. But I was having it set with as soon as I hit the turn signal, it would check and go, and it was pretty jerky. In the last month or two, now it could have been the driver profiles that I was on, they were pretty jerky. So I had switched it a while back to using the turn signal and then a slight tug. So we got a Sherwin-Williams truck coming to the right here. Let's go ahead and we'll jump in the right lane as soon as we get up here. Got a car behind me that's going to pass me on the left. So I'm going to turn the turn signal on, and before I had it set, it would go automatically. Now I just give it a slight little jerk to the right. Pretty smooth. And I have to turn the turn signal off manually, and I'm done. We'll sit in this lane for a little while. I've got it set to 66, basically going the speed limit. Nobody behind me anywhere. I'm going to go and get in the middle lane, turn signal on. Now the Bolt will use the detection it has. It doesn't see anything. I'll hit just the tiniest tug on the steering wheel, and it kind of floats over. Turn the turn signal off manually. Now I'm in the middle lane. Again, so much smoother than it had been. Again, that could have been the driver profile that I was using. But let's see what else we want to talk about. I can't think of anything pressing. Like I said, I've really enjoyed this the last few months because we've had some family issues where I'm doing a lot of these 80-mile round trips, and it's made it so much easier, not as tiring, very relaxing. And same thing with the autopilot on the Tesla and full self-driving. But I typically use full self-driving. The Tesla has become a road trip car because this Chevy Bolt was a buyback Bolt that I picked up just over a year ago. It had 32,000 miles on it, and now at 40,000, almost 41. This car has the brand new battery with an 8-year, 100,000 mile warranty. It came from California. I'm in Ohio, so the car was pristine. Like underneath of it was like brand new. So I fluid filmed and then surface shield this car myself, all the places that I could reach, just to keep it as new as possible, as long as possible. And before this, I was driving a Nissan Leaf. It was a used Nissan Leaf I drove for about 8 years. And it was a fantastic town car. But with this range on the Bolt, I could pretty easily do, I would call them fairly long range. Like I'm not taking 2,000 mile road trips. That's what the Tesla's for. Or we're going to say Columbus or Pittsburgh, which is 120 miles away. It's doable in the Bolt. Slower charging for sure. Let's do a lane change. It's going to little tug over smoothly, turn off, because this is going to narrow down to 2 and I got people coming up behind me. But if I'm doing these runs from Akron to Cleveland or wherever, it's just dirt simple. My wife has a 2019 Bolt. She drives at 50 miles a day. No issues whatsoever for the Bolt. And she's racked up 105,000 miles trouble-free. So this car was such a good deal, I just couldn't pass it up. So I cut $5,000 out of my Leaf, paid $10,000 for it, plowed that into this. So my kind of cash out of pocket was literally about $5,000 for this car. It just was a no-brainer. And then I found out after the fact that I could put Comma AI on this, because I was aware of Comma, never really dove deep into its capabilities, and decided just give it a shot. And I've just been, again, so impressed with what this car can do with Comma installed on it. So, we've been on the highway now for, 5, 6, 7 minutes, just chilling out, letting the car handle everything. Lane centering's awesome. Keeping good distance from the car in front of me. I'll see if, I'm going to bump up the speed here a little bit, and let's go up to 70. Let's see how much close we get to this car in front of us, if we catch him or not. We have probably another, about 10 miles to go on the highway before we get off on the secondary roads. Now I'm not going to catch this guy at all. I'm going to back down to 65, going up the hill. Give you a little bit of look at what Comma is seeing here. Great day in Ohio. We're getting past the big part of winter now in March. But being Ohio, we'll have one soul-crushing winter storm probably before winter is all said and done. So if you're new to Star Pilot, Frog Pilot, Comma AI on something like a Chevy Bolt, highly recommend. There's a Discord that I joined early on and got some fantastic help. There are a lot of settings in the car, a lot of settings in the Comma system that you can tweak. So there are some online guides to follow, but having some people to answer some questions, maybe in real time, has been really helpful. So really check out that Discord. You can find it pretty easily on the internet. There's a wiki that's in the left rail, more towards the bottom. That's going to bump it back up to 70 here. I'll just hit the button here. That'll hit my up button. Hit it. I've got it set for a quick press, gives me a 5 mile an hour, and you can switch it where quick press is 1 mile an hour increments, but I never go 1 mile. I always going to go 5. So I'm going to do a quick press. We'll see we're hit 65 up here. I'm going to press it once, shoots it to 70 up here on their screen. It's accelerating to 70, nice and smooth, and we're there. I've also been impressed with driving Kama in night, in rainy weather, even in, we got some snowy weather we've been doing here, and it's pretty much handled like a champ. Now, you've got to be aware of your surroundings. You've got to be ready to take over at any time. And I've gotten good at knowing, both in the Tesla and this, what its strengths and weaknesses are, and when you should be ready to take over, intervene, or just go completely manual driving. Don't use the Kama a lot around town. If I'm on a strode, you know, I might put it on for a while. But if I'm running errands around town in this car, I generally don't even mount the Kama system. I mount it every time I drive. But if I'm going any place that has a decent amount of highway, I'll load this up and use it. Alright, so now we're behind this truck. We're set to 70, we're going 62. We got a car behind us. Let's see if this car goes around me. Check, we got a guy coming up pretty fast on the left. After this guy on the left is gone, I think I'll take over this truck. I'm gonna put the turn signal on about now. He's passing me to the left. I got the Chinese there. Tug the steering wheel a little bit. We'll move over. And let's see how much we accelerate here. Smooth ramp up to 70. We should overtake this truck pretty easily on this hill. You have to love electric cars. Just the instant torque, the smoothness, lack of lag. Go ahead, put the turn signal on. It still sees the truck on the right. Tug the steering wheel just a bit. Just come over smoothly. Turn off the turn signal. And we're back in the right lane. Let this run for a while, even though it's probably pretty boring, but just to give you the idea of how capable this is. We've taken this Bolt several times to Columbus. That's 120 miles away. And having Tesla charging is really a game changer. There is a supercharging site in Ashland, Ohio that is open to the Bolts. We've utilized that several times. And maybe hit Columbus for a few minutes, charge down there, but you know, it's a little longer, of course, than it would take to drive the Tesla down there. But even at 120 mile one way and then back 120 miles is doable on the Bolt. And having something like Kama is, man, just makes these trips just so much easier. The hardest part is that, you know, there is a lot of friction to getting Kama up and running. You really have to be kind of a tech geek to want to run this. You know, I'll run through again the harness up here. That's Bear Tech Workshop. We got a car ahead of us. We'll turn the signal on, smooth over, go back off. He's going pretty pokey. There he is. Rusted out minivan in Ohio, common sight. Turn signal on, go back to the right. That was a little more jerky. All right, so Bear Tech Workshop for the harness. and the cabling, and you tap into your camera up here. Up top, we've got a RJ45 that runs out of the box. There's two ports in here. One's for the Comma itself up here. And then the RJ45 is a flat wire, runs across the headliner, down the B-pillar. It's all hidden under the dash, so you don't even see it. There's a pedal control at the bottom, and that allows the car to do the braking, the pedal, steering, and all that. So it's highly recommended on something like this Bolt that you go for the pedal version. You don't have to have the pedal to use the Comma, but in something like this Bolt, it's highly recommended. So yeah, so you've got, I mean, it's not hard. It took 45 minutes to set that up, but it's not like just jumping in the Tesla and going. Here's our exit. So we're done 23 miles. I'm gonna set the turn signal on. Get over here. Let's see what we're gonna do. It's gonna start to slow down. We got a red light. Let's see if it slows down for this. We're gonna making a left up here. So, boom, the car slowed down on its own. I didn't touch anything, and I did steer it. I'm gonna take over there. It was still creeping forward, but it stopped pretty much on its own. So, put it back in L mode. This is actually the stop where the there's another Tesla supercharger here up at this Circle K, but unfortunately, even though it's a new V3, it for some reason is not open to non-Tesla cars. So what we'll do here is we'll make the left and we'll re-engage once we get past the second stoplight over the bridge here. Got a long light. Sorry, I'm not editing this video. I'm just going to post it. All right, got the green light. And then I got another red light up here. Let's hit set. And I'm on Comma now. We'll let it stop for the truck up here, or the Jeep. Now it should go on its own. And it does. That's not me pressing any pedals. All right, so I'm gonna press the accelerator because I need to get up to speed. I'm gonna tap the button to get myself up to say 45 here and let go. Comma is back to taking over and keeping 45 speed here. So we're gonna go through a couple small towns, but basically it's a lot of 55 mile an hour, 2-lane roads. And Comma is still great at this. We're gonna hit another red light up here. Car should stop on its own. I might have to make it go to the right lane to see if it takes the right lane. Yep, it's going to stay in the right lane. Haven't touched anything. Comma's coming to its own stop. Haven't touched anything again. It'll creep up a little bit here. And all on its own. I'm not touching the pedal. I don't know if we can see down here. Off the pedal. And Comma should take off. There it goes. A little slow at 13, 15. But it did it on its own. No intervention. One of the things I really like about actually the Comma over the Tesla system is I can take the steering wheel and move it and move around, like say potholes, without disengaging the system. I wish I could make that a setting on the Tesla. So on the Tesla, if you jerk the wheel hard enough, hit the stock or the brakes, you disengage autopilot or full self-driving. It'd be great to have it where I could say the steering wheel does not disengage, so if I need to go around a pothole or road imperfections, I can do that. And I do that all the time on the Comma because this is Ohio and we have pretty crappy roads a lot of times. All right, so we're at the 35 speed zone here. I'm gonna hit the button twice, go down to 35 on the screen. Small towns in Ohio, beware of cops. Comma thinks it's still in the 65 zone up here. And we're gonna need to take over up here. Probably, we're gonna make a right turn at this light. And again, the comma is not gonna be able to make a right turn on its own. Go down to 25 here. I'm gonna do 2 more presses, taking me down to 25. All right, so it'll stop for the Jeep up here. All right. All right, it's going to go on its own. I'm going to hit the turn signal. I'll just go ahead and manually do it. I'm still engaged, but I'm going to help the car turn. Let go of the steering wheel. I'm still engaged. I'm going to hit a railroad track up here. I don't want to go over these as fast as the car is going to. I'm going to press the brake, really slow down. Go over these slowly, and we'll re-engage once we get up here past this curve. We're still in a 25 zone, although I am speeding a little bit, going to 32. 35 is up here. So I'm gonna hit the button twice to go up to 35 on comma, even though I haven't engaged yet. So as soon as I hit this, I'm going to hit the set button. Now I'm back to the 35 zone. We have a ways to go. I think it'll change to 50, then 55. I'm gonna go up to 40, hit the one more. It's still a 35 zone, but I'm gonna hit the 40. I do have a car behind me. Oh, it made me think seeing this curve up here. I've been also really impressed with how well it takes pretty sharp curves. Up here we're going to hit 55, so I'm going to go ahead and start ramping up. 45, hit it one more time, 50. I'm going to hit it again. Now I'm at 55. The car kind of slowed down a little bit. I don't know if it's because it's seeing the curve. Now we're at 55. Not a very sharp curve. Got a much sharper curve coming up here. Showing 50 on the yellow sign here, but this can take this no problem at 55. Put my hand on the steering wheel just in case. And really smooth. Fairly sharp curve there, but no problem. One of the things I've noticed about this form of self-driving and on the Tesla is how it rewires your brain. I really have eliminated that need or that feeling to speed. Letting the car handle all this just makes it so much easier. Coming into another town, so I'm going to start get slower here. Goes back down to 35 and then 25. We're still in the 55 zone. Oh, we got a train up here too. We're gonna hit a train. It's 35 up here. I'm gonna start ramping down with the speed. Keep pressing the button. Now I'm down to 35. Actually, I put it down to 30. And the car's really not slowing down to 30. We're at 41, 40. Oh, the train up here is gone. I'm gonna take over. These are 2 fairly rough railroad tracks, so I'll be taking over and going over those slowly, but we'll see if the car stops. The gates are going open for the car. We're coming up on this Jeep again. Car's applying the brakes. Starts to creep up here. As soon as we get to the tracks, I'm going to take over. I'll swing out right here. Got the second set of tracks up here. And then we've got a right turn. I'm sorry, not wrong town. This is not the right turn town. With that train, we're going to have some traffic backed up. We got some kind of a box truck up here, a couple behind him. So we're going to have some probably slow traffic here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit, I'm at 30 on the comma system. I think this is a 35 town. I'm going to hit the button to 35. Hit set. So now we're set to 35. And we'll have to handle it through this town. A little bit of a sharp curve here. Comma was telling me to take control. It was too sharp, but it handled it, no problem. Back to 50. I was hit by that pole back there. So I'm going to go up to 50 here. Bigfoot here on the right. There's Bigfoot. And we're just back to chilling at this point. Here's a good example of not being impatient because the car is driving you. So you just sit back, relax, don't get aggravated. So we've gone 29 miles so far. It took probably 3 miles for me to get to the highway. And during that time, that was city driving. I didn't engage the comma system. Just frankly, it's just easier to drive yourself in that situation. But once I hit the highway, it's basically been 98% comma driving, probably. Now, I don't have really any experience with modern cars and their quote other driving capabilities. My buddy has a Cadillac Lyric, and he thought the comma system was comparable, maybe better than what Lyric had. That's Blue Cruise. Is that what GM has? I lose track of Chevy and Ford's different iterations of self-driving or automated driving. I don't know if we're at 55 here yet. I'm going to hit the resume or button, the plus button one more time, take us up to 55. It's not as bad as I thought. I thought we'd have much more slower traffic here with the coming out of the town with the train, but yeah, we're in the middle of nowhere. Nobody behind us, nobody in front of us. 155, chilling out. I pointed out, one thing I am running, we'll play with it here a little bit, is on the dashboard, I've got it set up with Apple Play. So I'm running car scanner for reading the battery pack. So, we're at 71.37% state of charge. My battery capacity is 59.87. I've been tracking this since new on the Bolt, and started at like 62 when I picked it up. It actually went as high as like 67, went back down to 64, 62, and then I'm doing a ton of shallow drives around town, not doing any deep charges or discharges. So I think the BMS got thrown out of whack. Charged it pretty high, dropped down to like 59.87. Went up the other day to 59.97 after a deep discharge to give the battery pack some BMS stuff to read at the bottom end. But so that's what I'll show you there. You can do your battery temperatures. We're pretty toasty for this Bolt, this weather at 53. Max battery 60, so that'll give us some fairly decent range. We're at 3.6 miles a kilowatt hour, which is, it's okay. Nothing earth-shattering. Tesla's a lot more efficient. The Bolt's fairly efficient, but not crazy efficient. That's how I kind of look at it. Compared to my friend's Lyric, which is a pig, that thing is incredibly inefficient. But good weather, know how to drive the Bolt. It's easily get 4 plus, 4.2. Around town better, but let's call it 4.2 if you're lucky on the highway in good weather, driving sensibly. But I enjoy car scanner, being able to see cell voltages, temperatures. But it's kind of nice. I wish Chevy had a way to show you actual state of charge on the dashboard rather than just the guessometer. So, but I generally know, I really don't pay attention to this guessometer. If I'm driving a long distance, I know what the car's going to get in terms of probably kilowatt hours, and I can kind of know like what percent of charge I want to get to get me there, and just do that quick math. I need to charge up to 70%, 80%. But a lot of times I'm just driving around town. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever. So, well, let's cut it off here. So this is like just over 32 minutes, just to show a boring video about how boringly good Comma AI can be. If you've got any kind of a commute that does highway driving, to me this is a no-brainer. Makes your life so much better. The community's great. Seemingly I get updates multiple times a month, so we're in a very active community keeping this software updated and improving. So, all right, a little look at Comma as of early March 2026. Thanks for hanging in there. Take care.